Garten of Banban is one of the most famous horror game franchises ever. Maybe one of the most famous game franchises ever. This franchise is huge, but not for good reason. This game is built on being hated and being bad, because this franchise is not good. The games suck. They don't try to be scary. They don't try to be good, and you can tell. There is literally a floor texture in the second game bigger than Undertale. A floor texture, and it's not even like a complicated floor texture. Look at this floor. When you downloaded Garten of Banban, you downloaded this floor. And instead of downloading this floor, you could have downloaded Undertale, one of the best games in the world. Basically, Banban is a bad game, bad franchise, bad everything, and it's terribly made. Until I'd say about 7 is when they started being passable. But recently, while bored on my Steam Deck, I decided to replay Banban 1 on Steam Deck just to see if I could, to see if this poorly optimized game would work on Steam Deck. And also just to replay it after 2 years and many games later. And in my discovery, I have decided that Banban 1 is actually a good game. I think this game is scary, it's fun, and it sets up a great story. So in this video, I'm going to go over the entire first game and talk about my flaws with it, my many flaws, but also my many opposite of flaws, good things about this game. Because Garten of Banban 1, I would argue, is a good game. The game starts with a very iconic opening. This opening is repeated in every single game moving forward. And the opening's not that bad here. It gets a little bit stupid in the future, but I think it's okay here. The opening is security camera footage from the secret room that we can find later in the game. And there's text that says, "For a parent looking for their missing child, time is a delicate matter. Click the clock to advance time." And after you click the clock, the doors open and the lights turn off. And that's the intro to the game that would start one of the biggest mascot horror franchises ever, Garten of Banban. And now we start the game, and we get to our controls. I just yesterday played this game on Steam Deck to refresh for this video, and I feel like the controls are kind of garbage. There is 4 buttons you have to push across this game. There's a button to command the drone, 1 to respawn the drone, 1 to collect items, and 1 to jump. And I feel like that's just dumb. I feel like this game could be simplified to just 2 buttons across this whole thing. You could easily make it so you don't have the respawn drone button by just making it, if you double press the command drone button, it respawns, or if you hold the button down. And then you could just get rid of the jump button entirely. Because in the first game, you only use that button once, and it's in the final chase scene. When it's a chase scene, you don't need to jump, it can just be a normal chase scene. And I don't even think you have to jump, I think you just should. I think you can survive without jumping. Jumping is not a needed mechanic in this game. But I don't know. I feel like simplifying a game to 2 buttons, when currently there's 4, and you only really need 2, I feel like that's just a good thing to do. I don't know. That's just a little tangent I had. Let's get onto the game now. We start the game in Banban's kindergarten, and we are looking for a missing child. I really hope we find that missing child eventually. But for now, we are doing puzzles to progress further. And eventually we unlock this drone. This drone is how we do most of the stuff in this franchise. And this drone sucks. This drone is so clunky. Sometimes it feels like its hitbox is just wrong. Like, it'll look like it's supposed to hit a button, but it just doesn't. Or it'll look like it's not supposed to hit a button, and it will. Or it'll just collide with nothing. It'll collide with the ceiling when it's like a foot away from the ceiling. This drone is terrible. This drone is the worst mechanic in gaming besides the hatch from DBD. But I would argue that that's a good thing. I would argue that this drone is one of the best things that Banban created. And I'll talk about that later. After we do a couple janky puzzles with this drone, pushing these red buttons very slowly, eventually we walk down this hallway. And that's where we get our first glimpse of the villain of this game, who I'll get to later. But just look how creepy she is, just peeking around the corner, and then slowly moving her head back and entering the darkness. The mysterious darkness that we have no clue what's behind yet. Also, look at these chairs. I really like these chairs. Just look at them. Look at them go. Something wrong happened about them. They're definitely unanchored, and their collision is fucked up. But I think this had to be intentional, because during even the smallest playtest, you would definitely notice this. Every time I made a game, something being unanchored is one of the first things that you notice. This had to be intentional, and I think it's supposed to be funny, because look at these chairs. They are funny. I love these chairs. And they're across the whole map. They are everywhere, and I love them. It's also around this time we see the wall, I'm pretty sure. The wall of characters that changes every game. In the first game, the cast is Jumbo Josh, Banbalina, Banban, Opila Bird, this blue guy, I forgot his name, he's not important, I don't care, and Stinger Flynn. This wall, I think, is pretty good foreshadowing, because this shows every character that will be in the next 3 games, I'm pretty sure. until they start altering the wall to introduce more characters. But all of these characters all show up in future games, and this wall is just foreshadowing for that. And I think that's pretty cool. They foreshadowed their future characters. Then we do a couple more puzzles until we turn on the lights to the playground, which was the mysterious dark area that the bird went in. And this is when we see the bird, Opila Bird. This character made Banban what it was. If it wasn't for Opila Bird, the whole Banban franchise would never exist. Originally, the villain of this game is supposed to be Stinger Flynn, but I don't think he would have had the same effect as Opila Bird. Opila Bird was memed on so hard by the way her eyes looked and just by the way she was. The whole bird up meme came from her, which I think is the only reason Banban exists right now. I think if it wasn't for Bird Up, Banban would have just been another bad game that just got thrown away like Rainbow Friends. But this game stayed. This game became one of the biggest horror franchises, all because of Opila Bird, who's just sitting there. I hope she doesn't do anything bad in the future. That would just be bonkers. But anyway, there's a sign behind Opila, and it says that we need to feed her 6 eggs, and then we get a surprise. So we find all of the eggs scattered around the playground. All of them are pretty easy to find. There's one where you have to click a button and then a drone button, and then it'll fall down the slide. But that's the hardest one, besides what we'll get onto later. And then you feed her the eggs. And this keycard just comes out of her mouth in the grossest animation I've ever seen. Just look at this. This shouldn't happen, but I think it adds to Opila's creepiness. Opila Bird is a disgusting creature. So then we use the keycard and eventually we get a hammer that lets us break through the doorway that's behind Opila. And it leads us to this underground basement area that is a big pit. And to get to the other side of the pit, we have to go through this weird couch thing that's floating through like rails. And we can get to the other side very slowly. It goes very slow. But after we get to the other side, there's a puzzle. This is, I think it's pretty original to Banban. This is a puzzle where we have all of the outlines of all of the characters that we've seen earlier on the wall. And we have to match the colors of each character, which I think is pretty original to Banban. It's taking advantage of the mascot horror character designs that they made, and they're using them for a puzzle, which I think is pretty creative. They do this later in Banban 7. I don't think it's as good though. It's just not as simple. I like this puzzle a lot. I think this is the best puzzle in Banban. And after we do the puzzle, a button appears that we can push. Not yet though, it's still gray. But more importantly, the couch machine that carries you to the other side is going. It is on, and someone's on it. It's Opila Bird, and she's just staring at us with her disgusting high eyes, which I made fun of a lot for her looking like she's high. I think they're cool though. They're just so creepy. And I first noticed this here, but on the entrance to the couch machine that we were on before we passed this, there's a wall art thing of Opila Bird. And it's her cartoony self, and she looks like a nice little bird, a nice little cartoon bird. And I just like this drawing a lot because it foreshadows Opila Bird spawning from that area. And it just shows the contrast between what she's supposed to look like and what she actually looks like. Because she is terrifying. And as she's slowly coming towards us, the big button turns red, meaning that with the drone, we can push the button now. But it's not that easy, because this drone, as I talked about before, is clunky and bad, and it just slowly moves over. At first, I missed the button, so I had to try again, although this bird is slowly coming towards me. In her, I think, creepy animation, or it's part of her programming, I don't know how she does this, but at the start of the chase, she's just slowly creeping up on you, like an animal, slowly examining and sneaking up on their prey. And if you take too long to push the button, or after you push the button, she will start chasing us with this chase theme. This chase theme is not that good. It's like a 3-second audio clip just being looped. I really do not like this chase theme. It is not good. But the chase itself is pretty good. Because unlike a lot of mascot horror games like Rainbow Friends and the first Bendy, Opila Bird actually chases us. Because Ink Bendy and Blue from Rainbow Friends, they don't actually chase you in their first chase scene. It just plays scary music and expects you to go, but you don't have to at all. Nothing will happen if you don't. But Opila Bird chases you, and she's fast. You have to run, and you have to make these turns on this platform. And if you fell, or you make the turn a little bit too early, you will fall to your demise. So you have to very carefully walk across this path while this bird is just screeching and chasing you. And then eventually you land on the other side of the pit, and Opila Bird falls and dies. The Opila chase is what I think makes this game scary. Just the way she looks and the way she just slowly creeps in on us. I don't know, I just feel like this chase is really well done. And this is one of the things that even when Banban first came out, I always liked this part. I always liked the Opila chase. because I think it's just done so well. She acts like a hungry, wild animal. Also, another detail I saw while recording footage for this game, there's little Opila Bird footprints crawling from the pit. That's so creepy. She crawled out of the pit. She was trapped in the pit and she crawled out. She was into the pit. Also, there's a bug in this chase. If after you see Opila Bird, if you just run away and try running out the door to run away, because that's what a player's instinct would be. When they see scary monster, they run. But when you run away, there's an invisible wall, and Opila Bird will kill you because you hit the invisible wall. You're supposed to hit this button over here with your keycard, which would not be your instinct. There's nothing telling you to hit the keycard. You just have to know that. And the developers know about this. They addressed it, but they just never fixed it. This is one of those gameplay techniques where you don't actually know what's going on, and you just have to guess the right thing, and if you don't, you will die and you will have to restart, which is pretty cool, I think. Good examples of this would be the Dog Day chase in Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. There's a bunch of tunnels, and if you guess the wrong tunnel, you die. There's no way of knowing which one is the right one. There's no indicator. You will just die. And you could probably argue that the ending thing for Resident Evil Requiem is one of those. I disagree though, because I think if you pay attention during the video game, and if you actually lock in, you would know that you should save Elpis, because it's secure. If you pay attention during the video game, of course. Anyways, back to Banban. There's another glitch in this chase. There's a way to save Opila Bird. I don't really know how, it's like a timing thing I think, but there's a way to get her onto the other side of the pit, where you're going, but without her falling in the pit. And then she'll be stuck behind the invisible wall, because for some reason when you push the keycard, the invisible wall doesn't just move. It just makes it so you specifically can't collide it with it anymore, which is a weird way to program it since it's a single player game. I don't really understand it, but I don't know. Basically, my point is this game is good. Guys, I'm recording footage for this video right now. Do you hear the fan? My PC can't run this. And that's in like the main game. The rest is just like a prologue and a cliffhanger. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about the secrets in this game, because there's a couple. There's this tape that you can find in one of the early rooms if you backtrack. Here, I'll just play it here. It's creepy. It's a bunch of children playing and screaming until some big crash happens and everything just goes silent. I think this tape is pretty creepy. The silence after so much loudness, I don't like it. It's creepy. And the creepy thing about this tape is someone left this intentionally for us. There's a note by it that says, "For you." Someone left this here because they wanted us to see this. I think later it's revealed to be Banban. I don't know for sure though. And then the big secret of this game. After you get to the other side of the couch pit thing, by the puzzle, if you look on the roof, there will be another egg in between the roof and like the padding on the roof. And you can grab the egg and you can backtrack. Before Opila Bird chases you, you can find her and you can feed her the egg. And if you do this, you will get a purple key card. And you can go back to the purple keycard door, which you would have already passed by now, and you can open the door now, because you have the keycard. And in this room, it's a bunch of desks and some computers. I'm not sure what this means, but it definitely means something. But more importantly, this is also the room from the starting bit of this game, the clock bit. This is that room. And I think that's cool. This is the starting room, and we can venture back to it. I don't know, I like that. But now we're back to the main game, and we have to go through another door, right by the purple keycard door. And we get to this office area where we can find this passport that reveals that this game takes place in Canada and it takes place in 2016. And the person flying is named Uthman Adam. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but you know. This passport is so cool to me though. I was shocked when I first found this for the second time, because this is crazy foreshadowing for something that happens in I think the 6th game. It foreshadows this moment.
Can't.
I'm Uthman. I worked here before.
He's giving away the lore for free.
Literally.
Free lore.
Banban is Uthman Adam. Back in Banban 1, they foreshadowed something that would be revealed for a character who we don't even know yet in Banban 6. They planned 6 games ahead when making the first game. This was just so impressive to me because this is not something I expected from Banban of all things. Five Nights at Freddy's can't even foreshadow because they just make new shit up every game. But this is Banban foreshadowing and planning 6 games ahead. This is impressive. And then after we do a puzzle in this room, the ground just goes downward and an elevator comes in. And then we go in the elevator, go down, and we get to probably the most famous part about this whole game. The elevator slowly coming down and then seeing a giant Jumbo Josh with blood on his hand, something that security breach can't even do. And Jumbo Josh maybe eats us. Who knows? It's a cliffhanger. No one knows. And that's everything that happened in the first Banban game. And that's why I think the first Banban game was good. But let me know your thoughts below. Let me know if you disagree with me. And that's all for this video. If you watched till the end of this video about Banban, then please like and subscribe. And honestly leave, because this video is over. Goodbye.